And what an auspicious time to gather. On the first day of the month, we are going to have a new theme, and this is a time for us to reflect on what we're doing here, why we're here. And so I will walk us through all of what we're doing. First, I'd like to bring your attention to the Gary altar, which is in the center of the sanctuary at Soul Center. That's a little floor altar, and it was made by a Sangha member many years ago. His name is Gary, so it's forever now the Gary altar. On it, you will see a single candle. We will have candles for every time we gather. So on Monday, there will be 2 candles. On Tuesday, there will be 3, and so on and so on. We'll keep adding candles to represent the light in our Sangha. I also want to bring your attention to the beautiful wooden statue that was offered to Soul Center by our wonderful Sangha member, Karen, who is here today. And there are beautiful flowers opening and unfurling. Those were offered to the Spokane Sangha by our wonderful Sangha member, Ellie. Thank you so much for truly making this a community oriented enterprise. Let's begin. Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators of Recovery Dharma in the Spokane Sangha. For the month of December, we are going to explore a new theme, and it is the theme from dark to light. From dark to light. And what is motivating this particular theme is the season. And in the Northern Hemisphere, in Eastern Washington, for the month of December, for at least the first 3 weeks, we are getting darker and darker. The days are shortening. It's darker for longer periods of time. And it is a time to go inward. It is a time of introspection, but it is also a time of caution and gentility. It is a time of trusting one's body. Many creatures of the earth are hibernating this time, and they are trusting their bodies to carry them through the winter. And I bring that forward because as people who are recovering, there is a lot of distrust of the body, of our choices, of our mind. And this is a practice that is all about empowering you to trust your body, trust your mind, trust your wisdom, trust your light. So we will be very carefully, very compassionately bringing forward some of the darker elements of having a negative relationship to habit energy and adding a little light to it. Some kind of shy luminescence that might illuminate a corner, an edge, of this relationship to habit energy that you might not have seen otherwise. So that's what we're going to be playing with today and this month. On Fridays, I am inviting Sangha members to send me either in the chat, although it's much easier if you send me an email, if you have anybody that you would like held in the light of this practice. So I started mentioning it earlier in the week, and we did receive a couple of requests, and I'd like to take a moment at the beginning of our practice to bring forward these community members and their loved ones into the light of this single candle. If you have somebody that you're thinking about, go ahead and post it in the chat for today, and I will go ahead and read it. I think what I'd like to do to start is I'd just like to keep our Sangha members confidential at this point. So I'd simply like to bring forward the names of people that we're holding in the light. We're going to begin with a brother by the name of Sean who is on their way to rehab and treatment. And may they have safe travels, find a safe landing, and have really impeccable opportunities for healing, encouragement, and support. We're bringing into the light of our practice today a woman by the name of Janet who died. And those who love Janet, who loved her and love her still, are learning how to better live in her absence. And may that process of really embracing this precious human life for our loved ones who have died, may that come with ease, clarity, and peace. I'd like to bring forward a Sangha member by the name of Christy, who is on a cancer journey. I'd like to call attention to all of the medical professionals that are involved in Christy's care. May they bring forward great compassion, tenderness, brilliance, and presence. We have a Sangha member who is asking for a little bit of tenderness just surrounding family in general. And for anyone in our community today, may you bring into the light the elements of family that are dysfunctional, that are highly skilled, loving, beautiful. Most of us have families that are a wonderful soup, a mixture of positive and negative. And may we engage with the challenges of family with clear presence of mind, a really strong point of anchor where we can always engage from a place of loving kindness. I'd like to bring forward a community member by the name of Claire, who is healing from being attacked by pit bulls. Very seriously, actually. And may the wounds heal quickly, may the pain be minimal, and may the fear that Claire now has to live with around dogs, around that breach of trust, may that haunting ease with time, patience, and loving support. I'm going to take a moment to jump into the chat and just see. Thank you everybody for being here. We have a message in the chat that's calling forward Judy. We have a message in the chat that is calling into the light Amanda. We are calling into the light George, Bronzeby, Meredith, all struggling. We are calling into our Sangha Jim, Matthew Perry, the actor. We're calling into the light of the Sangha a brother by the name of Mike. We're calling into the light of this Sangha our Sangha member Julie, who had a lung transplant. We're calling into the light of this Sangha every single person who is here today. And for the duration of this practice, I invite you to either stare at the candle, maybe turn your gaze down, close your eyes if you want to, and see if you can imagine a little light within. The light that I carry personally within is orange. It's like a little glowing ember. I'm not someone who makes big bonfires. That's not my calling. My calling is to have a very small ember that I tend to, and I blow on, and I share, and I light small fires as I go. I try to encourage the light in others to spark and ignite anew. We all have the conditions for light. We all have light within. Sometimes we have built layers and layers and layers over this light, and the process of recovering is truly excavating and unearthing this light. It is often a shy light, a small light, an indirect light, but it is nevertheless light. Today, we begin our practice by shining some light on the 5 basic precepts that we all consider as Buddhist practitioners. And if you're not a Buddhist practitioner, these are precepts, these are vows, these are ideas that you can consider just as a human being, as a compass to direct your ethical and moral conduct. It is a way of really igniting limitless qualities. Your capacity to be loving and kind, your capacity to be compassionate, joyful, equanimous. The first vow we consider, the first promise we consider in this practice is we pay attention to not stealing, not taking what isn't ours. I remember one time practicing up at Sravasti Abbey with Venerable Chadran. One of the caveats to this precept that really was a bright light, something I had never thought about, was how we can be careless and steal another person's time. How we can steal our own time by wasting it. So it isn't just about taking what isn't yours. It's also paying attention to what do we take for granted? What do we try to get away with? What's the hustle of the day? And this kind of leads into the second vow, the second idea and promise that we're trying to aspire to. And that is to look at our capacity to lie, to be dishonest, untruthful. And friends, this includes not only a flat out lie. Somebody comes at you and says, feels very threatening and says, hey, did you do this? And all of a sudden you find you're saying, not me. And then it's like, wait a minute, why did I just lie? What am I, 12? But we do it. We freak out and we lose ourselves, right? So that's the sort of basic idea. We don't feel safe to tell the truth. This person might not be creating the conditions for our safety to be honest. That's real. So we get to look at that. We get to practice that. But this is a vow that also invites us to examine the way we distort ourselves, to shine a light on the way we inflate and distort our negative qualities. Once again, Venerable Chodron up at Sravasti Abbey had this great talk one time about how we have this habit energy of making ourselves out to be the worst person in the whole world, or we're the best person in the whole world. And the truth is we're neither. We're somewhere in the middle. So we've all done some things in our lives that we regret. We've all engaged with life in shameful, regrettable ways. There is no prize for the most regrets, the most shame, the worst addict, and there's no award for the person with the best recovery, the cleanest sobriety. All of that is distortion, and we're lying to ourselves when we perpetuate those stories. If you want to have people in your life that are safe to practice honesty, then you have to make a commitment to create conditions for other people to be honest and vulnerable. It is a practice. The third vow that we take is we really look at violence, killing specifically, and really looking at our relationship to violence and taking life. And our aspiration as practitioners is to reduce that generally. And remember, killing is absolutely about taking a life, but killing is also about snuffing out the light of someone, killing your own spirit, chipping away at yourself by the inhospitable inner landscapes that we have created. The violent way we talk to ourselves, the harshness and prickliness we're constantly subjecting ourselves to in the mind. In the Buddhist practice, we make a conscious vow to reduce that behavior to ourselves and by extension to all living beings. It is a way to cultivate a deep reverence and respect for all of life. The fourth vow that we consider is all around ethical conduct in relationship. Physical contact, physical ethical conduct, sexual ethical conduct. In the Buddhist practice, we recognize that ethical conduct around relationships, connection, and sex is a place where many of us have experienced harm, trauma. And there are many people in communities far and wide who use sex and relationship unskillfully in power dynamics that create harm, and it's actually an expression of violence. So as a practitioner, we make an intentional and conscious effort to be incredibly mindful of our speech, of the way we interact with one another, to watch our conduct, to make sure that it is of high aspiration and ethics. The way we are connecting with one another is an invitation to be mature, wise, compassionate, and caring. And all of this, friends, leads to the fifth promise that we make, the fifth vow, and that is to limit, to reduce, to remove intoxicants from our lives. And the reason why we make this aspiration is because it negatively affects every single one of the other vows. When we are actively using intoxicants of any kind, the risk is that we become unskillful, unethical, unwise in our speech, in our intentions, in our actions, in our efforts, in our mindfulness, in our concentration, in our livelihood. When we are using intoxicants, our capacity to have ethical conduct on the Noble Eightfold Path is at risk. It is distorted. It is negated. So we make formal aspirations to limit and remove intoxicants from our way of life because we know it causes harm to ourselves and others. We bring these vows, these precepts into the light, my friends, because this is an aspiration to bring forward our bodhicitta, our soft, wounded hearts, our nature to be good. Our nature is to be loving and kind. Our nature is joyful and compassionate. Our capacity to hold the light and the dark together is growing in wisdom and maturity because we practice, because we hold all of ourselves, the whole of us, our negative qualities, our positive qualities, we hold it all in gentle luminescence. We invite it all to be the object of our curiosity, the object of our wonder, the object of our commitment to heal and transform for the benefit of ourselves, yes, and by extension, the benefit of our loved ones, our whole communities, our friends, and complete strangers. We'll end our practice today, friends, with a blessing of light. Breathing in, may I remember the light I seek is within. Breathing out, may I have the courage to light my own way and help others find their light too. Oh, friends, that's it. Let's dedicate our practice with a dedication of merit. Oh, I think what I'd like to do today, besides stretch just a little bit, is often in Dharma practices, the dedication of merit is a chant. It's sung, and there are many. The one that's coming to me is to Shakyamuni Buddha. And this is a particular chant to bring to mind, to bring to heart your Buddha nature. May you receive this chant like a gentle light. May it add brightness to darker spaces in the mind and heart. May you find places in your day of peace and ease. If you know this chant, you can chant with me. It goes like this. I'll chant it 3 times. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Thank you, friends, for your beautiful practice. We'll see you next time. Namaste.